Good evening, guys. Yeah, shall we get started?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One minute. Yeah. Any doubts from previous topics that we discussed? Anything that is not clear?
No doubt, sir.
Okay, that's good. So you guys tell me, like yesterday, you want me to explain the concepts and then go to the problems, or you want me to directly go to problems? Your comfort. Because vector product is not as simple as scalar product. If you're 100% sure that you know every concept, then I'll go. Even if you have slightest doubt, you can please let me know. I'm ready to teach. So you want me to explain the concept and then go? Or how do you want? So whosoever wants, at least open your mouth and tell. Or else if somebody says, I don't want, according to that person, they don't want. But if you need it right, you'll be losing a chance. What do you want me to do? Yeah, this is not work. This is not going to work. This is as good as me recording the lecture and giving to you. If you guys are in class and not going to talk, it is of no use. It is wasting my energy also. What should I do?
You can teach the concept and then we go to exercise answer.
That's what I must. I'll explain. Not an issue. So vector or cross product of two vectors. So if you have two vectors A and B, okay. Then if you're doing A vector, you put an into mark between A and B. A vector cross B vector is equal to magnitude of A vector into magnitude of B vector into sine theta, where theta is how much? So into sine theta multiplied with n cap. Okay. So sine theta multiplied with n cap. Just a minute. Yeah. So here A, this is the magnitude of A. This is the magnitude of B. Theta is the angle between A vector and B vector, and n cap is a unit vector perpendicular to both A vector and B vector. Okay. So n cap is a unit vector which is perpendicular to both A vector and B vector. Are you guys able to understand this? Right. Now, the question is, how do you find this n cap? Yesterday we didn't discuss anything of this sort, right? Yesterday I told you just A vector into B vector into cos theta. I didn't use anything like n cap. But the question is, how do you find this n cap? So n cap is a vector perpendicular to both A vector and B vector. So how do you find that n cap, guys? For that, what you're supposed to do is, if this is A and this is B, if this is A vector, B vector, then you need to rotate A vector to B vector in the shortest direction possible. Okay, which is the shortest direction? Is it clockwise or anti-clockwise? Which one is easier?
Clockwise.
So clockwise is easier, right? Means you need to take your right hand and turn your fingers. Okay, I'll show it to you. Okay, you need So I hope you're able to see me, right?
Yes, sir.
So if this is A vector and this is B vector, okay. So you need to take your right hand. If you are doing A vector cross B vector, means A is the first vector, B is the second vector. So from the first vector, you need to curl your fingers towards the second vector. Okay. When you do this, you take your right hand and curl the fingers in the direction in which you have revolved and extend your thumb. The thumb gives you the direction of n cap. Okay. So can you guys tell me what are we supposed to do? From the first vector, so which hand you are supposed to use? Right hand. In the right hand, from the first vector, curl the fingers towards the second vector. In which direction? In the shortest direction possible. Then extend the thumb of your right hand, and the direction in which the thumb is extended gives you the direction of how much? Gives you the direction of the
N cap.
N cap. Okay, so have this in your mind. Now see. Now, if I take the vector product of two non-zero vectors, A vector and B vector, then A cross B is equal to this thing, right? Now see. Then if A vector is equal to 0 or B vector is equal to 0 and theta is not defined, then in that case, what will happen is A vector cross B vector is still going to be a null vector. And the following observations are to be taken into consideration. If you do the cross product between two non-zero vectors, it is a vector. Let A and B be two non-zero vectors, then A cross B is 0. Under what scenario? So A cross B will be equal to 0 if and only if A and B are parallel or collinear. Right? So A cross B is equal to 0 vector. You can say that A vector and B vector are parallel to each other. Next is, in particular, if you do A vector cross A vector as 0 and A vector cross minus A vector as 0 vector, since in the first situation is theta is equal to 0 and in the second situation theta will be equal to minus pi. So this is parallel, this is anti-parallel. So parallel or anti-parallel, you can still call them as collinear vectors. Similarly, if theta is equal to pi by 2, then what are you going to get? A vector cross B vector will be equal to magnitude of A vector into magnitude of B vector into, there is a small correction that we need to do, into sine pi by 2, n cap is there, right? So you will get this as magnitude of A vector into magnitude of B vector times n cap. So there is an n cap that needs to be added here. Okay. So if I have to write 3A as a formula, then magnitude of A vector cross B vector is equal to magnitude of A vector into magnitude of B vector. This is right. Are you guys able to understand? So this is a correction to be made. If you have the right thing in the textbook, if this is given, 3A is given in your textbook, it is right. If not, make a correction. Okay. Next. In the fourth scenario, if you take I cap, J cap and K cap, if you do the cross product between I cap and J cap and J cap and K cap and K cap, that will give you a 0 vector. Whereas if you have I cap cross J cap, and so if you do I cross J, what are you going to get? You will get K cap. But how did you get it? That is more important. So I cap cross J cap is equal to K cap. How did you get it? It is because it is magnitude of I cap into magnitude of J cap into sine pi by 2 times n cap. Right? So magnitude of I cap is 1, magnitude of J cap is 1, sine pi by 2 is 1, 2. In the place of n cap, what are we supposed to write? You will write K cap because K is the one which is perpendicular to I and J. Correct? Is that right? Is that logic right?
Yes, sir.
But there is a tricky part here. Why can't I write I cap cross J cap as minus K cap? Because minus K cap is negative Z axis also perpendicular to both X and Y axis. No? But why are you able to write it?
I cross J is anti-clockwise, so it's K.
Perfect. So if you take I cap and J cap here, since it is anti-clockwise revolution, take your right hand, keep it on the top of your paper and curl the fingers of your right hand in anti-clockwise direction. Direction is the thumb facing. It is facing towards you or away from you? Is it facing towards you or away from you? It will be towards you. Right. It will be towards. Take your right hand. See, I put the arrow mark here. Take your right hand. Rohan, curl the fingers of your right hand and keep your thumb extended. Tell me.
Yes,
curl the fingers of
towards us.
Got it. It is towards you. So towards you is plus K cap. Whereas if I do J cap cross I cap, then what will happen? So J cap cross I cap is something which is turning in this direction. So J cap cross K cap will be, sorry, I cap will be minus K cap.
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
And why below you wrote I cap cross J cap is minus K cap, sir?
Where, no, I asked this. Why can't it be is what I asked. That was a question.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Next. Similarly, if you do J cross K, it is I, and K cross I is J. So you need not remember sort your circle. Put I, K here. Okay. J and K here. Then I cross J is K cap, J cross K is I cap, and K cross I is J cap. Okay, if you go in the anti-clockwise direction, it is like this. I cross J is K cap. K cross I is J cap. J cross K is I cap. Okay, similarly, if you go in the clockwise direction, it is negative. I cross K will be how much? I cross K will be minus J, K minus I. So it keeps on going like this. Okay, so this is the most important thing that you need to remember. Next one is, in terms of vector product, if you want to find the angle between two vectors, then sine theta will be given as magnitude of A vector cross B vector divided by magnitude of A vector into magnitude of B vector, because magnitude of A vector cross B vector is magnitude of A vector into magnitude of B vector into sine theta. Observe here, I didn't write n cap. Why? Because that will also have a magnitude. So what is magnitude of n cap? Anything with a cap is a unit vector. So magnitude is 1.
1.
Right. So sin theta will be equal to magnitude of A vector cross B vector divided by magnitude of A vector into magnitude of B vector. Okay. Right. Next is, I've already told, A vector cross B vector is equal to negative of B vector cross A vector. This we have already seen, because I cross J is my K, J cross I will be minus K. Next is, all these things I have explained. The eighth one. So the eighth one is, if A vector and B vector represent the adjacent sides of a triangle, then its area is given as half of magnitude of A vector cross B vector. I will prove it and show why it is so, because If I take A vector and B vector as the adjacent sides of a triangle, and if I take theta as the angle between these two vectors, then what will happen is, if I drop a perpendicular from here, then this height becomes A sin theta. Accepted? So this height becomes A sin theta and the base becomes A cos theta. So what is the area of a triangle? Half into base into height. So half into base into A sin theta. So this will be equal to half into A vector cross B vector with a magnitude. So that is going to be the answer. Okay, it can either be half into A cross B or half into B cross A also, because they both are within the modulus. Similarly, if you know the side C also, then it can be written as half into magnitude of A cross C. If you magnitude B vector cross C vector also, you can write that in any ways, provided you know the consecutive sides of it. Okay. Similarly, the last one is, if you know the adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then its area is given as magnitude of A vector cross B vector. That is twice the area of the that is formed. Okay. So that's it. Now, if you go to the property, then there is something called as distributive property of vector over addition. If A vector, B vector, and C vector be any three vectors and lambda is a scalar, then A cross B plus C is equal to A cross B plus A cross C. Similarly, lambda into A cross B is equal to lambda into A cross A vector cross B vector, or A vector cross lambda into B vector. You can write them as it is. Next is, let A vector, B vector be two vectors given in the components A1 I cap plus A2 j cap plus A3 k cap and B1 I cap plus B2 j cap plus B3 k cap. Then A vector cross B vector can be written as magnitude of I cap, j cap, k cap, A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, and B3. Okay, A1, A2, A3, and B1, B2, B3. Okay. So remember this. So what you do is I cap, J cap, and K cap you'll put it at the top. A1, A2, and A3, B1, B2, and B3 you'll put it at the top. Okay. Next is, shall we get started with the problems?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see. Let me take the sheet. Find magnitude of A vector cross B vector. Find magnitude of A vector cross B vector. So what will you get? A vector cross B vector is equal to magnitude of I cap, J cap, K cap, 2, 1, 3, 3, 5, minus 2. So what is A cross B then? I cap into minus 2 minus 15 minus J cap into minus 4 minus 9 plus K cap into 10 minus 3. So this will give us minus 17 I cap plus 13 J cap plus 7 K cap. Okay, this is A vector cross B vector. But what do we need? We need magnitude of A vector cross B vector. Then what is going to be the answer? Root of 17 square plus 13 square plus 7 square. When you solve that, clear? It's a simple problem, right? Next. Find the unit vector perpendicular to each of the vectors A plus B and A minus B. How is that, guys? Find unit vector perpendicular to each of A plus B and A minus B, where A is this thing and B is this thing. So what is A vector plus B vector? 2i cap plus 3j cap plus 4 cap. A vector minus B vector is 0i cap minus j cap minus 2k cap. Okay. Now, how do I find the vector? How to find vector perpendicular to both? So, how do I find the vector which is perpendicular to both?
We should take the vector product of both and find the magnitude.
But if you find the magnitude, we'll get the magnitude of the vector which is perpendicular. No. What you told is partially correct. See, by taking vector product, what will you get? By taking vector product, what will
Will
you
be
get?
0, sir.
Aha. Why will it be 0? Da? See, when you take vector product between two vectors, then what is the output vector? I told you in the beginning of the statement. Output vector is the one which is perpendicular to both the vectors for which you took the cross product. Correct? So that's why she told we need to take the vector product. So if I take the vector product, A vector plus B vector cross A vector minus B vector, I'll get some C vector, right? Then this output vector which you are getting for the cross product of these two will be perpendicular to both the first vector and the second vector. But is the question about finding C vector? Is it about finding C vector? What is the question all about?
To find a unit vector.
It's not to find C vector, it is to find C cap. Correct? So we need to find C cap. So first find C vector and tell me, do the cross product between both and tell me what is the answer. What is C vector? Hmm?
Minus 2i cap plus 4j cap, sir.
Minus 2i cap
2i
minus 2i
plus 4j
minus
cap.
4i minus
minus 2i minus 4i
4j 4j 4j
4j, that's it.
and minus 2
Minus 2k, correct? Then what is C cap?
Yeah.
Minus 2i minus 4j minus 2k divided by square root of 4 plus 6. So minus 2i cap minus 4j cap minus 2k cap divided by root of 24. So this is the unit vector. So read the question carefully, okay? Next time when you read it, whenever they ask find the vector perpendicular to each of, then the first thing that needs to come in your mind is doing the cross product. So if they say vector, stop it with the cross product. If they say unit vector, find the cross product and divide it with the magnitude of the resultant. Here. So find the area of the triangle having the points. So AB is there. What is AB vector? 0i cap plus j cap plus 2k cap. So what is BC vector? 2i cap plus 2j cap minus 2k cap. So AB vector is this, BC vector is this. Then what is the area of the triangle? Half into magnitude of AB vector cross BC vector. So half into, find what is the magnitude and tell me the answer. That part you guys do and tell me. No?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Please tell me.
Sir, isn't BC vector I cap plus J cap minus 2K cap?
BC, I made a mistake. It is correct.
Yes, sir.
What you told. Yeah, sorry, I made a mistake. I cap plus 2J cap minus 2. Correct. Thank you.
Sir, only J cap.
I cap plus J cap.
Sir, only
I
J
cap.
cap.
Oh, only J cap. Sorry. Yeah. I cap plus J cap minus 2. Correct. Now it's right, no?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Oh, do it and tell me, what is the answer? Let's see if everybody's answer is matching.
Sir, I got root 21 by 2.
So this is
Yes,
root
sir. It's
21.
root 21 by 2.
Okay, then it's right. So root 21 by 2 square units. Okay. So just for the sake of experiment, okay, you find AC vector also, that you can do it as a part of homework. Then you try to find half into modulus of AC vector cross AB vector and see if you're still getting the same answer. Okay, you can do it later, not now. Do that and see. Leave some space in your notes. Okay. Next. Find the area of the parallelogram whose adjacent sides are given like this. So it is magnitude of A vector cross B vector. Since you guys are now accustomed to how to find A cross B, I'm not solving it, okay? Let's not waste time on simple problems. Find magnitude of A vector cross B vector. So what is A cross B? So practice it for the sake of improving speed. Make it fast. I, J, K, 1 minus 7, 7, 3 minus 2, 2. Find it fast.
Sir, is it 0I
0I
Plus 19J.
plus 19J plus 19K?
plus 19J, 9J.
19, sir.
19J
And 19K.
19K.
plus 19K.
Yes.
Okay, you take the magnitude of it, so you will get 2 root of 19. So both are same. Root of 19 square plus 19 square. 2 into. No, I made a mistake.
It will be 19 root 2, sir.
19 root 2. Okay. Next. Find the unit vector perpendicular to both. See, if you see the same set is getting repeated, A plus B and A minus B. So first find A plus B. So A plus B cross A minus B is what you're supposed to do. Then you'll get C vector. Once you get C vector, find C cap. C cap is C vector by magnitude of C vector. Next. 3. If a unit vector A makes an angle pi by 3 with I cap, pi by 4 with J cap, and an acute angle theta with K cap, then find the value of theta and the components of A. See, this one I will explain it in 3-dimensional geometry. Okay, because we need to use the direction cosines. We'll go to the next one. From here it feeds. Show that this thing is equal to 2 into A cross B. So how to do this? A vector minus B vector cross A vector plus B vector. So A vector cross A vector plus A vector cross B vector minus B vector cross A vector minus B vector cross B vector. This is 0, this 0. A cross B is A cross B. Minus of B cross A is what? Plus. Minus of B cross A is what? It is plus A cross B. So this becomes 2 times A cross B. This is the property that we used. Right? It is 2 times A vector cross B vector. Next. Find lambda and mu if 2i cap plus 6j cap plus 20k cap cross I plus lambda j plus mu k is equal to 0. So what you do is I, j, k, 2, 6, 27, 1 lambda mu is equal to 0 vector. Okay. So find the vector and tell me what is the vector. So I'll also do it parallelly. 6 mu minus 27 lambda minus j cap into 2 mu minus 27 plus k cap into 2 lambda minus 6 is equal to 0 I cap plus 0 j cap plus 0 k cap. So what will you get? 2 mu minus 27 is equal to 0. So 2 mu minus 27 is 0. And 2 lambda minus 6 is 0. So which implies mu is equal to how much? 27 by 2 and lambda is equal. Correct? So I hope your answer is matching with mine.
Yes, sir.
Lambda is equal to 3. Okay. Next. Given that A vector cross B vector, sorry, A vector dot B vector is 0 and A vector cross B vector is 0, what can you conclude about the vectors A and B? So A dot B is equal to 0 is the condition for perpendicularity. A cross B is equal to 0 is a condition for parallel vectors. If A and B, can A and B be simultaneously perpendicular and parallel to each other? Think about it. Can A and B be simultaneously perpendicular and parallel to each other? Answer is no. Right? How can two lines be parallel as well as perpendicular? So, what is that you can conclude about these vectors A and B? Either A vector or B vector is a 0 vector. Okay. Next. Let ABC given as A1 I cap plus A2 J cap. So these 3 vectors are given. Then show that A cross B plus C is equal to A cross B plus A cross C. So is it possible for you to show the steps? There is actually a distributive property of addition. So will you be able to show the steps? So find B vector plus C vector. Then do A vector cross B vector plus C vector. So this will be A1 I cap plus A2 J cap plus A3 J cap cross. Add these two. B1 plus C1 I cap plus B2 plus C2 J cap plus B3 plus C3 K cap. Okay. So find this, you will get a final result. You will get a big vector. Then what you do is you take RHS, do A vector cross B vector separately, do A vector cross C vector separately, and add both. You will get a vector. Then these two vectors should be of the same value. So will you guys be able to do that? Yes. So when I say, when you're saying big vector will come, no, and the big vector, you need to combine everything and write it as I cap, plus combine everything and write it as J cap, plus combine everything and write it as K cap. So like that, it keeps going. Right. Next. If either A vector is 0 or B vector is 0, then A cross B is 0. Is the converse true? That is, if A vector cross B vector is 0 vector, can I say A is a 0 or B is a 0 vector? So it is something similar to what we saw in yesterday's class. Is the converse true, guys?
They can be parallel.
They can be parallel or collinear, so it is not true. Correct. So still A and B can be non-zero vectors and parallel vectors. Find the area of the triangle. So find AB vector, BC vector, half into magnitude of AB vector cross magnitude of BC vector. You can do that. Okay. So remaining part you can try and solve it. Next. Find the area of the parallelogram whose adjacent sides are given. Find A vector cross B vector and the magnitude of it. Okay. So let A and B be such that magnitude of A vector is 3, magnitude of B vector is root 2 by 3. A vector cross B vector is a unit vector. So magnitude of A vector cross B vector is 1. And find the angle between A vector and B vector. So sin theta is equal to how much? Magnitude of A vector cross B vector divided by magnitude of A vector into magnitude of B vector. 1 divided by 3 into root 2 by 3. 1 by root 2. So what is the value of theta? 5 by
4.
So answer is D. Right? So last problem is the last problem of this chapter is area of a rectangle having the vertices A, B, C, and D with position vectors given like this is how much? Now tell me which two sides are parallel to each other. So when you say rectangle, the ABCD is given, right? So position vectors are given. Sorry. You cannot conclude anything as parallel. So find AB vector. There's A, there's B, there's C, there's B. So find AB vector. Okay, what is the value of AB vector? 2i cap plus 0j cap plus 0k cap. Okay. Find BC vector. 0i cap minus j cap plus 0k cap. Correct? So since rectangle is also a parallelogram, so you can take 2i cap, magnitude of 2i cap cross minus j cap. Correct? So 2 into magnitude of I cross j is how much it is k, and this will give you 1. So 2 units is the answer. Did you understand what I did?
Yes, sir.
So I took this 2 outside, 2 into magnitude of I cross minus j. Since modulus is there, I forgot the minus sign. So I cross j is k cap, magnitude of k cap is 1. So 2 into 1 is 2, and the answer is square roots. Okay. Or else what you can do is, since it's a rectangle that is given, then you can take magnitude of AP vector as 2, magnitude of BC vector as 1. Since rectangle is length into breadth, multiply both. 2 into 1 will also give you 2, an alternate way to do it. Okay. So these are all the problems that are based on cross product of vectors. Okay. So if this base is clear, then I can 3D will become a little easier. Okay, so 3D, what is there? You need to concentrate more on the direction cosines and the direction ratios part. Clear? So by next week, I'll complete it. That's it for today. Anything else? Any other doubt?
No doubt, sir.
So any other doubt? Yes. Okay. Okay, then we can wind up here. Yeah. Practice the miscellaneous. Okay. We'll wind up.
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.
sir.